everyone. So today is the first day of my flexibility mobility challenge, and I chose to open hips. So for every day this week, I'm going to post one pose that we can do to open up our hips. So we're gonna get right into it. The pose that I chose today is pigeon pose. So most of you know about this pose. You've been in this pose before. So bring your right foot forward. So you're gonna have flexion in your hip, your knees at a 90-degree angle, and then your back leg is back into extension. So I'm gonna set a timer because we're gonna be in this pose for a little bit. If you need to modify, just wanna tell you, if you have a block, if you have a set of books, if you have a blanket, a pillow, and you need to prop up. So for instance, if you're here, if you're up like this, you could put the block underneath your sit bone, okay? Or if you feel like you're rolling to one side, you could always, so just play around with it. You could always find what you need and then go back and press play. So when we think about being tight, we always think about our hips being tight, our hamstrings being tight, our shoulders, our lower back, and all but the hamstrings are joints. Our hips are a very big joint, made up with 17 muscles plus, and a lot of connective tissue and a lot of fascia. So that's really what we want to stretch during these poses. Gravity yoga has 3 principles. Before I get into that, just want to, a lot of people, when they get into this pose, they kind of lean forward, and it takes the pressure off of, because you're gonna feel this. Your hip is at a, it's lateral rotation here, and you're gonna feel this in the back of you might even feel this in the hamstring, you might feel it in your lower back a little bit. But I want you to take your right hand, put it on your knee, take your left hand, put it on your ankle, and just really, relax here. So gravity yoga has 3 principles, and the first principle is wet noodle. So wet noodle is a relaxed state that we get into under tension. And we want gravity to pull us down and, ground us down to the floor. So your muscle lengthens when your body is in a relaxed state, and that's really what we're looking for. We just reached the 2-minute mark, so if you need to come out of this pose now, you can. Otherwise, try to stay in the pose as long as we do, and I'll go into the time factor in a minute, but try to stay in the pose if you can. The second principle of gravity yoga is breathing. So when we breathe, we want to inhale through our nose and we want to exhale out through our mouth. So we're going to inhale for the count of 4 and we're going to exhale for the count of 8. So I'm going to count and you just breathe. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose and exhale 8 out for 8. Good. Inhale through your nose for the count of 4. And exhale out for 8. Good. And as I'm talking, just keep doing that breathing technique, because the breathing is really, really helpful and probably one of the most key factors into being in this pose, because the breathing helps with your parasympathetic nervous system and it helps to relax. Okay, so it really is all about your nervous system, and it helps to relax your stretch reflex, and that's really what we want to do. Okay, so there's a lot of key factors that we can do to try to help that. The third principle of wet noodle is meet or beat your hold time. So as you see, I set a clock. So really, if you want to work a muscle to stretch along with your tissues and your fascia, you need to really stay in a passive stretch for 2 to 5 minutes. I wouldn't go past 5 minutes because there's really no benefit to that. And I really wouldn't stay any, I wouldn't shut down any sooner than 2 minutes because again, you really need to stay in the pose for 2 to 5 minutes for the benefit of it. So today I chose obviously to stay for 5 minutes, and we're coming down to the wire here. So just bear with me. Continue to breathe in through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. Good. And we're gonna come out of it and then just come out nice and slow. Bring your foot back, come into a child's pose really, really quick. Good. And then switch. So bring your opposite, your left or opposite foot forward, back leg. Oh, okay. 5. Okay. So the timer is going. So back leg. So again, so modify as you need to. Take this hand, this foot, and just bring it out a little bit in front of you. So meet or beat your whole time. So here we are. And we're just going to continue to breathe. That way we can relax in this pose even more so. So completely decreases energy. So why do we stretch? Why do we need flexibility? I mean, obviously it's for functional movement. You know, everybody, as we get older especially, you want to be able to get up and from a chair. You want to be able to sit down in a chair. You want to be able to, you know, tie your shoelaces. So flexibility is really, really important, you know, to add to whatever it is that you do already, whether it's, you know, running, working out, you know, walking, any kind of activity that you do. So this is a passive stretch that we're in, and you'll see like runners and you'll see people, they'll do some active stretching, probably mostly all the time before they go to do whatever it is that they're going to do. They'll jump up and down, they'll twist, they'll, you know, go forward, but it's really a warm-up. It's not really doing anything as far as flexibility wise, and nor do you ever want to do this deep stretching that we're doing before a workout, because before a workout you're contracting your muscles and now we're lengthening our muscles. So you really do need both, but you always want to contract before you lengthen. So after a workout, it's great to get into these poses and do this stretch to, you know, lengthen your muscles. So anybody can do this. We're at the 2-minute mark. Actually, I'm sorry, we're over the 2-minute mark, but if you want to come out of the pose, you can come out of the pose, but try to stay in it. And if you have to come out of it, that's okay. Maybe tomorrow or the next day you go back to this and then you're like, okay, I'm going to try even more. I'm going to set a timer and try for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So you can kind of like play around with it and challenge yourself. That's why we're doing a challenge. So it's always a great thing to do is challenge yourself. And I really feel like I've been talking to so many people who have just been like, my hips are too tight and my back is too tight, and you know, it's just really doesn't have to be. We just have to put a little bit of time into it and do it the right way. So again, let's go back to the breathing. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 and exhale out through your mouth for the count of 8. Good. Inhale through your nose for 4 and exhale out through your mouth for 8. Good. In through 4 and out for 8. again. In for 4. And out for 8. Good, and you just keep breathing. We're almost there, so hang in. So if you've been here this whole entire time, you're doing a great job. And I'll keep talking every day about, I guess, why we should stretch, but I think that pretty much everybody knows why we should stretch, right? Good. We're coming on the last couple of seconds here, so hold on. Doing a great job. Good. Keep breathing. Good. And we did 5 minutes on each side. You guys did great. So just shake it out, come out of it. Oh goodness. And then come on down into a child's pose. Okay, so thank you for everybody who stayed and did it, and tomorrow we'll be back with another pose, and we'll just do this for 5 days, and I hope that you see some benefit at the end of the week. Even today you might feel a little bit more loose and ready to go. So if you have any questions or comments or whatever, please just send me a message and I'll get back to you.